Hey traders, hope you had a good weekend checking in on the markets. But first, we've got a live stream tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. Going to be going over pre-market prep as well as the stock market open and some commodities and things like that. Pretty much an open house showing you what we do every day with our live stream in the morning for Chart Guys members. And it'll be on our main channel here. I'll post the link in the comments of this video. See you at 9 a.m. Eastern. Other than that, put out a little bit of content over the weekend. Had a video with Big Cheds talking about crypto and RSI, and then also did a video about the 3 traits of successful traders. Check those out on the YouTube channel as well. So SPY Bulls held the low of Friday first thing, held that support by 7 pennies right at the open, and then we ended with a green Marubozu candle where we closed at the high of the day. There's a gap to fill at 388.78 as a short-term level. And then the high of last Thursday, 395.96, is resistance as well. Powell and the Fed, FOMC on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, is going to be a significant event. The last couple of times we've had fundamental events involving the Fed. First was Powell speaking a couple Fridays ago, and then CPI, big bearish reaction last week. So the question is, do we get the hat trick of big red bearish reactions to these events and this information, these fundamental data points, or does it change this time? Still sticking to the daily downtrend as our guide. I'll go over a trade where I shifted my perspective today, and it'll be a good example using the biotech sector and incorporating different time frames and incorporating the broader market into establishing a trade game plan on the fly. We'll get to that about midway through this video. So hourly uptrend confirmed on SPY, and the hourly uptrend is now our guide, where if we lose the hourly high or lows, a daily lower high will be shaping up. QQQ, same thing. We've got the hourly uptrend confirmed to the bulls. Daily bounces underway. And for QQQ, I would call anything under 311.08 as a daily lower high, which means we can go up another 5-6% and still be in a daily downtrend. So the hourly uptrend is our guide as we scout a daily lower high. Anything under that level, losing the hourly uptrend is the first indication that the daily lower high is being set. Semiconductors, daily bounce underway. Same deal. Anything under 218.83 is a lower high. If I'm a bear, I want the bulls to control all day tomorrow, close as strong as possible, because part of the reason, in my opinion, that we have had bears so successfully responding to these recent fundamental events, the bounces and the daily lower highs leading into them. This wasn't a daily lower high last week, but it was a big bounce where bulls were overextended and CPI swept the legs of the bulls. So if I'm a bear, I want to bounce as much as possible before FOMC and then hope for a bearish reaction. We'll see what we get tomorrow, but if I'm a bear, that's what I want to see. But hourly uptrend is our guide. SMH, same deal. Little bit of relative strength showing in NVDA today. And if you look at least in the morning, NVDA divided by QQQ, we know it's been a lead bear for a long time. That's shifting a little bit. And we saw that shift Friday afternoon. And so when it continued to remain that way this morning, it wasn't very surprising because we had already made that observation from Friday afternoon. But again, this is the daily downtrends that are our guides. And we can look at a name like SMH or NVDA and say, okay, we have been in a daily downtrend since essentially mid-August. So it's been a month. So if we keep setting daily lower highs, nothing changes. If we break daily lower highs, that's the start of something potentially changing. So that's the way that I'm approaching markets right now. And again, I started today saying I'm only looking bearish until bulls prove something to me. But then I saw a very nice low risk, solid reward setup that made me change my tune. Tesla is remaining a lead bull along with EV names. Higher low on the daily set Friday at 295.60. Resistance of 314.67 is the highest level that Tesla has seen in 4 months. And that level is in play. And you look at SPY and QQQ and a ton of other individual names, we're not even close to testing the highs of a month ago. So very notable relative strength. And it's, again, we're seeing it across the board in solar being a bit stronger and other EV names, RIVN, daily trying to set a higher low, NIO trying to set a higher low after the big bull move last week. So going to continue observing where the relative strength is, because overall it's a weak broader market with small pockets of relative strength. And if the broader market can shift its momentum, those small pockets are positioned well to benefit even more so, and definitely seeing Tesla among those leaders. And if you look at Tesla divided by QQQ, it is the strongest it has ever been in the history of Tesla, which is very notable. So again, just the simple statement, Tesla has never been this strong compared to QQQ in its history. Healthcare and the financial sector both have key weekly supports that are being tested and currently holding. So we can see that low from a couple weeks ago. Bullish reversal candle on the daily today. XLV was clearly our weakest sector for the majority of the day. But if these bulls get follow through, I'm watching the daily downtrend. But if we see a big enough bounce to try and change the daily trend, it'll be a notable hold of weekly support. And XLF doing the same thing. 32.48, we held that by 2 pennies today. Green Marubozu candle, lead bull sector. Can the bulls defend weekly support? That's going to be key on both of these sectors. We know these are the second and third most important sectors in the broader market as far as their weight in the S&P 500. And if both of them are holding support, even though QQQ and SPY already dropped to lower lows, we won't see much follow through in at least SPY's lower low if these sectors are able to defend these supports. So I don't have a nearby support level that I'm watching on SPY and QQQ that I care about in the short term right now. These two sectors are the support levels that I care about that bulls are attempting to defend. IWM broke that support, not by much. So a bear break with no follow through at the moment. Key resistance 184.69. And again, these names have not seen a daily uptrend since we topped out on the weekly about a month ago. A little over a month ago at this point. So we have to see bulls gain daily uptrends for the first time in over a month. And that's the case for Bitcoin, SPY, QQQ, bunch of individual sectors. Biotech sector, same thing. We broke resistance, but we haven't seen a daily uptrend confirmed since we topped out. So I'll go over the trade review. XBI stood out as a lead bear all morning very, very clearly. Look at it drop here from open until 10:20. That's 50 minutes, 5-0 of downside. And QQQ at that point in time is going up. And SPY is going up. So we're going inverse to the broader market, just extremely weak. And so from there, I said, all right, I'm keeping an eye out for a 15-minute lower high on XBI. And that trade never presented itself. I started the morning, I'll give the whole picture. I started the morning trying a top fish on CCJ as it was testing 28.09 resistance. Just the fact that we shot straight up to that level with no 5-minute uptrend. I top fished that resistance and got stopped out with a tiny loss, a little 25% day loser. So started the day saying, I'm only looking bearish until bulls prove something to me. Bulls show up on the morning, so I keep an eye out for a bear play off of resistance. I stop out with a small loss, and that tells me, all right, take a step back, be patient, and wait for midday patterns to present themselves. And more, I'm finding that my win rate as a trader is much higher after the first 45 minutes of trading versus, pretty much my ideal window is maybe 10 to 10:15 a.m. to noon. I usually find some solid setups in there. But stopped out with a small loss on CCJ and then said, okay, well, bulls are following through. QQQ is leading to the upside. I know that's a check mark in favor of bulls. So I'm going to be patient and see what presents itself midday because I don't have a ton of clarity with where we stood from there. So then I saw XBI get very, very tight. And the tight pattern that I was watching here was high of the day, low of the day. This was a 15-minute lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low. So at this point in time, it's about a little bit after noon. And I'm saying, all right, this 5-minute time frame is getting extremely tight here. And it's a 15-minute, we're just grinding EMA 12 resistance. So we're either going to get a bull break here and start an hourly bounce, joining the broader market bulls on some upside, or we're going to keep tightening up on the 15-minute and reject. So I looked at this sideways pattern and I said, all right, well, I know volatility is coming to XBI shortly, midday here. We're going to break this tight range. So I need to determine, is it more likely to break bull or bear? So what do? I first look to the broader market. What is SPY and QQQ doing? Are there any clues for me just past noon for what SPY is going to do in the short term? At that point in time, we had topped out at the high of the day and we had pulled back into hourly consolidation. So I see that and say, okay, well, I'm looking for an hourly high or low, anything above the low of the day. Because we started with a support hold from the low of Friday, QQQ leading the way to the upside, over a 1% move up, and that created space for an hourly high or low attempt. So, all right, I'm keeping an eye out for an hourly high or low. What do I need for an hourly high or low to form? I need a 5-minute trend change to the bulls. So again, this is now incorporating the broader market with my individual ETF as far as looking for clues, as well as the hourly time frame and zooming into the 5-minute time frame, knowing a 5-minute trend change to the bulls is needed for an hourly high or low to be shaping up. So watching the broader market correlation and the setup there for some clues and incorporating how these different time frames relate to each other in most likely scenarios. So I then recognize that SPY and QQQ are potential 5-minute inverse head and shoulders. And at that point in time, it was SPY looking for this 5-minute high or low right where I made my entry. Because I said, all right, well, if this is a 5-minute inverse head and shoulders, it's going to confirm and give us an hourly high or low on SPY and QQQ. QQQ is the same pattern. I'm just using SPY here. They were doing the same thing. So I said, okay, well, if I'm looking for the potential of an hourly high or low, and I see a 5-minute bullish reversal pattern forming, I'm going to go bullish on the biotech sector. And so I made an entry on LABU at 772, and I put my stop under this low of 766. And so 1227, XBI getting very tight on the 5-minute, constant grinding of 15-minute EMA 12 resistance, short-term volatility is incoming. And then I made the decision, I'm in LABU, there's my stop, out 30% after the bull break took place, so I'm now risk-free. And then I just scaled out more and more from there, exited 30%, then another 20%, then another 20%. And so the bull break happened and the hourly bounce got underway, and that bull position went well. So why did I change my perspective? Because I had a very low risk, solid reward trade. My risk was 6 pennies and the reward ends up being 34 pennies. I didn't know that it could be 34 pennies at that time, but I knew it was more than 6. And so that's an example of 5 times the potential reward, more than 5 times, versus what the risk was. So then I changed direction. I see XBI break the high of the day, ahead of the broader market, ahead of SPY and QQQ. High of the day is 82.73. We break it by 8 pennies straight into a pullback. So to me, that's a bull break with 0 follow through, pretty much a double top. And as soon as I see this size of the pullback, I say, okay, we now have a bearish correlation forming. We just had a bullish correlation all bounce. That is shifting because at that point in time, it's 240 to 250. 240 to 3 o'clock, essentially. We're consolidating on the 5-minute. Again, what's QQQ and SPY doing at that point in time? Here's 240, a tiny little pullback. Here's a bull move. We were going up and at the high at that point, at the high of the bounce attempt at that point, as XBI is still down here, not near its high of the day. And so again, if it's easier for you to look at these charts, go to XBI divided by SPY. Look at the massive change here. Just the shift in correlation. I wasn't looking at this chart. I could recognize it by watching the 2 ETFs, but that comes after years of observation of just being able to see it. These charts definitely help. So I then flipped to bearish. I then exited. So XBI high of the day still needs follow through. Hourly resistance next after that. Making note, we still have to confirm an hourly trend change. SPY is coming straight off the low. We don't have an hourly uptrend. QQQ is trying for an hourly uptrend. SPY is trying to confirm an hourly uptrend. We're coming from a weaker point, so I know that hourly consolidation will be inevitable if we're going to try and shape up an hourly trend change to the bulls. So I'm watching for hourly consolidation. I see the bull break over the high of the day with no follow through. I exit some more. I would be scouting a 5-minute lower high short for hourly consolidation from here if there were more time left in the day. So when I said that, it was right here, and I know I've got my afternoon live stream coming up, but I then saw a spot where there's enough time in the day. All right, I'm going to take that trade. So I exited all of my long, and then I jumped into LABD on this 5-minute candle. Because if we're going to shape up hourly consolidation, this is a big enough pullback to scout a 5-minute lower high, and then we confirm the 5-minute downtrend into the close. I don't have those orders up, but it was an LABD entry at 21.15. I exited half at maybe 21, actually it was 21.18 entry, exited a third at 21.28, put my stop break even 21.13, and then just let it play out. I'm giving the wrong numbers, 22.13, and let it play out. Exited some more into the end of the day. Just another little icing on the cake. This trade was much less significant than the long trade, but just recognizing the shift. Recognizing the shift in correlation had me take all my long profit and grab some short exposure for a quick little end of the day trade. So that's the XBI trade review. And into tomorrow, XBI has to confirm the hourly trend change to try and join the stronger sectors that already confirmed hourly uptrends today. CCJ, I'm watching for a weekly higher low. It's a potential cup and handle like pattern on the weekly. I'm not holding my breath for it, but it's resistance. We've formed a little rounded bottom. We failed resistance, and now it's trying for a bull flag. So I'm looking for signs that the weekly higher low is shaping up. And we need an hourly trend change here as well. Nice bounce off the lows, but no hourly uptrend. So tomorrow the burden is on bulls to confirm an hourly trend change for the daily bounce to get some follow through to try and give us confidence in a weekly higher low trying to shape up. So I might be interested in an hourly higher low play on CCJ tomorrow. Have to see how it shapes up and what the broader market is doing. But just something I'm keeping an eye on for a weekly higher low. The dollar, if I'm a crypto, stock, or commodity bull, I want to see the dollar break the low of yesterday to start daily consolidation for a tightening daily range to continue playing out. And that would give the possibility of keeping a possible chance that we lose weekly EMA 12 support. But first things first, we have to see a bear break of 109.47 for a daily lower high to be set to watch for that tightening range. As far as metals are concerned, gold is still weak. Silver is still relatively stronger. Silver is trying to shape up a daily trend change. And the names that I've been talking about on Twitter, I'm interested in silver and copper if the dollar shows us weakness, because silver and copper are showing us relative strength against other metals over the past couple of weeks. Copper is still way over its low from a few months ago, and if you compare that to gold, gold broke that level. If gold were trading as strong as copper, we'd be up around 1750 right now. So I'm not confident long metals as long as the dollar is strong, but as soon as we start seeing some signs of dollar weakness, we can be keeping an eye out for potential bullish metal entries. And really, big picture, what we're looking for is metals to try and give us, at least some of them, 6-month higher lows. And that's a very long time frame, of course, but low, high, and trying for that higher low. And copper is looking for the same thing, trying for a 6-month higher low after a significant bull move up over a couple of years. Platinum. Platinum's weaker, but I am watching this weekly falling wedge. I'd love to see one more rejection into a pullback for an inverse head and shoulders attempt. If I'm going to be any interest in platinum. But again, just essentially establishing my game plan. Which names, I don't want, we got dollar weakness and then scrambling to throw money at some metal commodities. I want to know the names that are showing me relative strength so that if we see dollar weakness or when we see dollar weakness, I know which names I'm going to focus on. Oil held daily support. I'm on the futures contract for November, CLX 2022. So we held the recent low. Now the burden is on bulls for us to see a break of 89.63 to confirm a daily trend change. We got a very wide range here. And again, still just patiently watching. Can we form a monthly high or low? First step for the bulls is confirming a daily trend change. And also curious to see if we get dollar weakness, is that going to help oil bulls set a monthly high or low? Natural gas, head and shoulders that we were watching from last week has confirmed no follow through. So this is an example of where, someone will say, are you bearish if XYZ level breaks? My answer is I don't know. I have to see how that level breaks. So if you say to me, are you bearish if 778 breaks? Well, if we just dropped 20% to get to support, no, I'm not going to short the break of that level. We're too extended. We're oversold on short-term time frames, and that's not my ideal risk to reward entry. If we had stair step down with little daily lower highs and lower lows, that's much different than a waterfall drop into extreme short-term RSI levels. So we broke both neckline levels straight into a bounce attempt. But natural gas monthly consolidation is now underway. And we do have a clear daily downtrend. And we also have a 4-hour downtrend. So we have to see the 4-hour trend change back to the bulls if anything's going to shift in the short term. But bears affirming a little bit more control over the last few days. So we'll see if bulls can get some bounce follow through tomorrow, FOMC Wednesday. We'll see if that spoils things and continues daily downtrends, or whether bulls can get a reaction in their favor for the first time in a while. Just taking it one day at a time as always. Having a bear lean as long as we're in daily downtrends. But again, if there's a day trade opportunity that presents itself with a solid risk reward setup, I will take it, because there are obviously bull moves within downtrends as well. But it has helped me recently over the last week or two to have that mindset where overall I'm looking bearish. And we'll see if this FOMC reaction can change that mindset for me if the bulls prove something. Hope you had a great weekend. Check us out tomorrow morning live. And do good things.
This caterpillar's making a treacherous journey across the hot driveway, giving him some shade for his home stretch. These are some of the last flowers in the yard, these big white ones. And then we've got these yellow ones that'll be starting to flower soon. Other than that, the zinnias are still going. You can see some monarchs, maybe, still around there. And everything else still overgrowing, just waiting for some cold weather to help kill things off, and then we'll remulch the garden and get ready for next spring.